9:06, March 18th, 2026. I was just playing my video game. Good old Civilization 4, Caveman to Cosmos, total conversion mod, which everybody should play because it is the pinnacle of civilization. Civ 6 blows chunks. You can get it to try it and realize it blows chunks. But while playing it, I just realized the game developers, and this isn't to really dig on game developers. It's just a thing that happens. But game developers and game designers and whatever, they always end up doing a thing called nerfing in order to, and nerfing is people that play games, people that play video games especially. This is relevant or relating to video games. Nerfing is essentially done because people that play video games find either exploits in the game that allow them to really take advantage of some kind of something in the game that gets what someone may call an unfair advantage, or just something in the game that's a really good bonus, and it'll be known in the community. It'll be dude, you got to get this, and if you get this, it's like a really big power up or something like that. Or it's just a very, it's just you need to get this. You get this, and it's awesome. And if you're playing player versus AI, it's just get this. Don't let the computer get this, because that's just why let the computer get this? Because it's detrimental. That's bad. And then it'll still help the computer snowball against you and stuff. All those are examples of nerfing, that they'll go in and they will they'll decrease or remove those things. They did that in Diablo 2 all the time. They would take a weapon that people would always have and change it, and constantly change weapons and stuff. And people would make combinations of weapons when dueling each other, and be oh, this gear set is fantastic for dueling and stuff, and then it would be the new gear set and stuff, and then a new a new update would come along, and people would be pissed at the devs because they nerf that gear set and shit. So that's an example. But at least with respect to Diablo 2, that nerfing is an attempt to kind of balance the playing field with games. They're always trying to balance the gaming, the playing field, the competition. It's always about a balancing act in video games. And it's the same way, we do that a lot with competitions. We're always trying to balance things out with like sports too. It's the same way. Neil Tyson talks about this with like wrestling. They have weight classes instead of just letting anybody wrestle anybody. You know, a 350-pound wrestler that's 6'6" wrestle, you know, a 5'5" guy that's 110 pounds or something. I mean, like, it wouldn't even be a match, and it would be no fun to watch. You know, the same thing with boxing. At a certain point, you know, like, there might be a chance that like a 180-pound boxer might be able to like beat up like a featherweight, might be able to stand a chance against like a guy in a weight class two, you know, a little bit above what would be a normal weight class match, something like that. But at a certain point, like, they're just, it's just like punching a brick wall or a steel wall or something like that. It's just not going to be possible for boxing, for that style of fighting. Like, it's just not happening. And so they're trying to, you know, they're trying to make it a, you know, a watchable fight, a watchable sports competition. And do this across sports, across video gaming and all that stuff. And you can think of many examples for stuff like that. I'm sure people could think of examples for that. However, you know, stories. We tell ourselves stories about that. So let me also tell you, politicians tell us these stories too. We tell ourselves these stories. Movies tell us these stories. I will also say that there are a lot of politicians that tell us these stories too about the free market, right? The free market. We gotta let the market free. This is an exceptional story. You gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps. This is a great story. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, they have experienced this story in the real world, and they know that it is in large part bullshit. You know it's bullshit. And I'm not talking about just poor people here. Rich people know it's bullshit. It's not something that you talk about or advertise in polite conversation. I'll tell everybody, every single person in America and elsewhere. You know how it's bullshit? Go into a workplace, go into any workplace. Is everybody's income, salary posted for everyone to see? Just up somewhere for everyone to see? Maybe we could make that a law that everyone's financial statement, their income, their bonuses, what they've made on investments, the taxes they paid, is up on the inside the company. Right there for everyone in the company, for everyone to see. From the guy at the top, the CEO, all the way down. It's for everyone to see what they have made and their net worth. Everyone can see it, plain as day. A lot of people will be like, that's their private information. Really? Isn't that just a little bit suspect? Isn't it? Why is that suspect? Why? I'm asking you, why is that suspect? Because then you know who to steal from? I mean, you already know who to steal from if you want to steal from somebody. You already know who the richest guy is and who like, I wonder if I should steal from the guy next to me who is running the cash register. We already know who doesn't have shit that you would want. We already know who to follow home and be like, I gotta case this guy and be like, this guy's definitely got something. So that's not really an argument. That's a bullshit argument right there. Why is that not done? At every company. Maybe there are some companies that do that shit so that everybody fucking knows. But even still, how do you know that's real? If somehow everybody in the company is making within 10%, somehow I kind of doubt that that's right, but maybe it is. I doubt I'm the first person to propose some shit like this. Well, I think a lot of people would be like, well, not everybody deserves to get paid the same amount. Some people are worth more. And I think that also is bullshit. I think in large part that's bullshit, and that's a bullshit lie that we have been taught to believe. Um, the argument, well, I spent all this time in busting my ass in high school, busting my ass in college, blah, 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 blah. So that makes you more worthwhile to society than someone working at a fast food restaurant, working as a janitor, working as this, working as that. Well, what incentive do I have to blah, 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 blah? because maybe you want to be this or that, and maybe they just don't want to put in that effort to do that. Or maybe because they do want to put in that effort and they did not have the familial resources, or they did not want to take on that burden of debt to do that, or they weren't willing to move away that far from their family, or one of their parents fell ill and they had to take care of their brothers and sisters in addition to their parents. So they had to take a job in addition to take care of the rest of their family. You don't know what the circumstances are. There could be any number of circumstances behind any of that shit. So it's a bunch of bull behind all of this stuff. There's a bunch of bull. The real reason is we have a country of 300 plus million people. If the same opportunities were given to let's say 150 to 200 million adults, if the same opportunities were truly given to all those people growing up and stuff, would you, the guy that got that really good job, would you actually be able to have that job now? Or would someone else have it instead of your ass? And would you now be serving that guy coffee from Starbucks? Because you didn't cut the mustard. You might still have an advanced degree, but you just can't find work. Or you might be forced to work at Starbucks while you're still, figuring out, like, I gotta find some other people to get together a company or some shit like that. You're trying to, like, do some other stuff because nobody will hire you because you just, you didn't basically cut the mustard for somebody else to hire you. You didn't get all A's. You graduated with like a BC, a 2.7 average instead of a 3.9 or 4 average. And they were like, yeah, I'm going to go with the other guy. You might be white, but, the other guy got almost a 4.0 average and was a double major. You were just a single major, and you did not get as good grades and everything. You don't have recommendations for it. I think I'm going to go with the other guy. So, yeah. Yeah, think everybody is, it goes back to the principle of everything you know is wrong. Everything you think you know is wrong. It's still freaking cold in here. It's only 9:30. It's not going to be warm. Well, it's not really going to be that warm outside until maybe 11 o'clock, and it's probably going to take the entire day to warm up in here. It's brick. And once it gets warm, it's going to be decently warm. But yeah. And most people who I got a lot of time. I'm on disability, so I got a lot of time. So I have a lot of time to think about this and objectively analyze this. People that work for a living, they work for a living. So they just don't have time to think about this shit and objectively analyze a lot of this stuff. Think about it. Really think about it. I do. I think about this. I watch videos and I listen to people's shit and other people's arguments and like blah blah blah. This is bull. They're all the fucking Republican and conservatives talk about this shit. It's not really. I'm just like, well, you're wrong because this. I'm like, you're wrong. And I think about all the bullshit that people have said to me. I worked at gas stations in rich neighborhoods, and they would come there with, did you read this article? And did you read this? And I'm just like, I'm an employee, so I can't piss the rich people off, but I'm just nodding and being like, you're an asshole inside my head. I remember these people. Yes, sir. Sure enough. So when you have enough time to actually think about things instead of just you're grinding away and then you get home and you're tired and taking care of your kids, by the time you might have some time to think, you either are tired and just gonna sit down and watch some stuff on TV, or just gonna sit down, drink a couple beers, and then go to bed. That's exactly the plan. Powerful people want to make you run around all day. By the time you're done, you're too tired to actually take some time and think about how much you've been screwed all day, every day. That was one of the points of the 40-hour work week. It was to try to give you enough time to think. That's another thing unions wanted to do. That's why in countries with the 32-hour work week, people get pissed off when Americans hear about, but why are they getting pissed off that there was some story about like they're trying to raise deductibles from like $5 to maybe it was 5 francs or something. It was like in France. You know, but it's like $5 to like $8, and French people went fucking ballistic on it would be their Congress, whatever it is. It was like if Americans heard that, they'd be like, "What? That's nothing." It'd be like they're paying nothing for their health insurance. Why do they even care? And French people fucking they were like storming the streets in the capital and shit, and they were like, "Fuck you!" Fuck. They were like throwing throwing food at the fucking congressman. I don't know what the fuck they call him, but and at the prime minister or whatever the fuck they got. It was just fucking insane. They were ready to fucking put him on the on the fucking guillotine again. They're just like, $5 is already too much. You're gonna raise it? Eat shit, motherfucker. There you go. That's why they don't want a 32-hour work week here and free healthcare and all this other shit. Because once we get there, oh my God. Once we get there with a $15 or higher minimum wage and all these other protections, it's going to be game over. People are going to have all this free time. They're going to be going out on vacations with their family. They're going to have maternity and paternity leave. Oh, corporations are never going to be able to screw us again. All these people are going to love it. They're going to be like, what? You want to take this away from us? Oh, fuck no. No. That's why people with this thing on weed, there was this fucking shit where in Texas they want to raise the fee on marijuana licenses from $150 to $20,000 to get a license to sell marijuana, and I was just like, wow, that's insane. And apparently they're gonna do it, and they're gonna be able to do it because it's Texas and Republicans. Um, smokable marijuana products, and like gummies are now gonna be insanely weak. And I don't smoke marijuana. I don't do weed anymore. I quit that shit a while ago. But it's just like, yeah, it's another example of Republicans loving using the power of the state when it suits what they want to do. We have to protect the children. It's like, you're so full of shit. You are so full of shit. What about protecting the children from the bull crap of your indoctrination? From your religion. I mean, how about you can't take your children into church until they're 18 or 21. You're so worried about, they get indoctrinated in university. Well, you're indoctrinating them once a day, every week in a church. You don't call that indoctrination, do you? You call that like culture or some shit. They're brought into a building, a separate building for re-education once a day, maybe twice for a day every week. It's re-education. But if you call it going to church and you normalize it in the entire country, all over the world even, if you just say, we're just going to church and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, man, it's just going to church. But how about we call it re-education camp? Yeah. See? Now it doesn't sound so, innocent. Churches are re-education camps that are also tax-free. Tax-free re-education camps. Churches, temples, and mosques are re-education camps. Now should they be tax-free? So, I mean, it's just a different way to look at it. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm offering a I'm offering a point of view that is contrary to everybody else's point of view. And it's your point of view is something that's been normalized over the past, I don't know how many thousands of years. So if you're going to say university indoctrinates people, I'm going to say churches indoctrinate people. Anyways, all of this video is a bunch of things, and maybe people should start again. Everything you know and been told is wrong, and you need to start having you need to question everything. You question everything that you have thought and everything you think. Constantly ask questions. Because if you're not asking questions, whatever. I don't know who it was that said it, but the starting point of knowledge is asking a question. Beginning of knowledge is the question. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know. Another guy said, Galileo, he said, what was the quote? I do not feel obliged to believe that the same God that endowed me with sense, reason, and intellect has I forget it, forced me to neglect. He wants me to neglect their use. God gives you the ability to question shit and then says, Don't do that. Here's this beautiful and incredible mind that has the ability to look around and say, "What the fuck is that?" And then gives you this book. Do exactly what's in this and only what's in this. That seems like a wonderful, stupid contradiction. A contradiction that's unbelievable. And why would God create slaves with the ability to question God's existence? I don't think God wants slaves. He already has slaves. They're called angels. At least I think slaves are anything. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot of theology of any kind, so don't quote me on that. I'll tell you this. Oh, I will tell you this much though. Boom, right there. At least right now, I watched some videos from Trump in his early days in like the 80s and 90s, and he seems much more cogent. Only until like the 2010s and stuff, when dude seems to kind of start getting a little crazy when he's like getting older and he seems more intent on becoming the president. Then he starts getting like, oh, yee. But yeah, back like 30, 40 years ago, it seems like kind of the average, I want to be a billionaire businessman, which is just like the normal kind of business crook. So it's like average level douchebag, which is, yeah. And then it turns into like, damn. So anyways, tax rich people, kneecap rich people, boobs.